up to order. It's 12:16. And Ken, we had kind of hoped we could have Brenda or Christine in with us today, because we're doing over quite a bit of stuff.
They'll be able to watch the video of it too, and I'll take the notes for what I've got. We've got a couple of big fires we're trying to put out and stay on top of.
Okay.
So,
It might have to do with some of, it does have to do with some of the stuff on your list, so I think
yeah.
we'll be fine then. And you will take the notes. Gee, I like that.
Where do you want to start?
Should we start with the lesser or the greater?
Let's start less.
Get something out of the way.
Let's get something out of the way.
How about the applications, George?
The
If we send them back yet,
what do you say for applications?
the conditional use applications for the subdivisions like the,
The accept or the approve?
yes,
Okay,
did we address that yet, how we want to?
not at this meeting, but we should do it. I mean, we have, but we haven't come up with a conclusion.
Okay,
Okay, and I think that's as good a place to start as any.
so we can do.
Let's do that, and get that out of the way.
I think that would go back to that, I can never find it, that document that you passed out that you highlighted.
Okay, I think Leslie has one, I have, yeah,
She does.
she can
If
share
I
it
can
here.
find it.
Okay,
Okay.
Does it look like this?
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. Good job, good
That
job.
was quicker than I
How
thought
do
it
you
was
do
gonna
that?
be. I don't know.
Should be
It
very
doesn't
good.
always happen like that. You should see my filing system at home, it's horrible.
It's in the subdivision thing, imagine.
Imagine that, it's in the subdivision book. All right, the thing that we want to make sure of is that it has happened, we've been called on it, and we had to explain it once or twice. Whether the whole, no, that's okay, I'll share it with you. The whole process is, with a subdivision, I'm going to use the word normally, there are three processes, okay? You have a meeting, sketch plan meeting. Everything is brought in, you say thank you, and that's only after it's gone to Ken, Brendan, Ken comes, you know, we have that, we look at it, and we can accept the sketch plan. Once we accept the sketch plan, it starts the clock, I better have this right, where notices are sent out, not for a public hearing, not for anything else, but notices are sent out to the abutters saying that we have an application for a subdivision.
That's preliminary.
That, Brenda
So,
got me
yeah.
on this last time.
Sketch comes in, they've got napkin drawings, and they're just saying, what do you guys think about a 62 and older apartment building with 80 units? And they get the feel from the board that this is going to be something accepted, or this is going to be, we gotta make some changes.
Okay, Brenda and I went over this at the meeting 100 times, and I asked, they might have gone out, because she felt at this time, that's when the notification of the application went out.
Yep, in preliminary.
No,
So,
no, that's,
you can skip sketch plan. If
Okay.
they don't want to come in and get advice from the board, if they want to go straight to buying and paying for some drawings with contours and test bits, they can come in right in there. They've skipped sketch plan, that's fine. They can skip sketch and go straight to preliminary. It saves them a fee, saves them a meeting and stuff like that, so they can skip right past sketch.
okay, they can skip past sketch, but.
That's at their own risk, kind of. They've
course
invested
it is.
thousands of dollars at this point,
Of
but if
course,
it's a
but
simple
the-
three-lot
But the
subdivision.
point was, I
When
did
we
not,
notice?
I did not believe we had to send out notice, and she said I was incorrect, we did, when we got that. And we said to the applicant, we're not calling this anything because we have too many questions.
Yep.
And we'll see you in 2 weeks, but
Yep.
thank you for bringing the information in. So that's where we are, is whether or not,
And I think there was some confusion because we thought the applicant or the representative was coming back to finish an old project,
correct,
but yet we were starting a new one.
correct,
So,
yeah. So there was confusion, that's why I finally said, we're holding off. We're not gonna,
And that's why
that's why we want to clean it up.
I wanna go back to, the discrepancy of interpretation that we had approved a plan, and Gavin made a point that all we did was accept
yep.
or approve the sketch plan.
So in the subdivision book, page 13, D,
I'm already on 20, Ken.
are you into final already? You've already
He's already been
accepted,
through it.
approved, and,
No, don't say those two words together.
yeah, Tony, he's waiting to final.
Yeah.
So page 13D, within 3 days of receipt of a preliminary plan application by the board, 3 days of receipt, we didn't say days of accepting or,
No, that word,
because receipt, and it does say designee, so if somebody drops off a box like we just had, and if it's a subdivision, we've got 3 days to get out a notice. And, I mean, this could be the day after your meeting, and if it's one of those 5-week month
as,
things,
well, not only
it
that, but
could
if
be
it's...
3 or 4 weeks before you guys get it, and we've got 3 days to tell everyone we've
Well,
got it.
and this was a holiday weekend.
Yeah, so we kind of look at that as receipt as when you guys have it. The clock now starts, we got 3 days, we'll get the things out. 3 days
It does
is,
say by the board, but I'm assuming.
It says
that it is
by the board means us.
or it's designee. So where you guys don't have office hours, things like that, we took it that as, that's also us. But I interpret that as you can drop it off here until we give it to you guys and you guys have received it, the clock really isn't ticking. And as long as the developer's working with us, they're not,
Well,
They're not
that's
screaming.
that's what happened last week. Joe had no problem with us saying, because I said to him outright, I'm not going to accept this because I'm not going to approve nothing. I'm just saying thank you for the material.
exactly, yep.
And that's, so he can come in next week, and honestly, that gives us a chance to go through what it is and what they want to do,
Correct.
and make an informed decision as we move forward, because we still have to move forward at that point. So,
Then we've got 30 days to determine it's a completed application.
Correct.
And notify the applicant, right?
right. But what we have to do is make it very clear, if we accept the preliminary application, that's what we're doing, the application. We accept the application, then we accept the preliminary plan. It's 2 phases on each thing. We can accept or reject the final application, and we can accept or reject the final plan.
So the first part is really that we received it.
First part is we received it.
Whether it's drawn in Greek or whatever, that would be, so we'll have the 3 days, we notify the abutters that we've received a plan. And I think that's one of the only times we really do notify everybody, that we've received it.
Right.
Then we can look at the application, then we have our 30 days to determine if the application, which would be the plan as well too, that's complete.
Correct.
If not, then we'd have a list of things on it. And most people are in communication with us as well too. And if we notice that the north arrow is missing, the contours are at 20 feet, they're not at 2 feet. Usually when we can stay on top of this stuff, we've already corresponded back with them and they've given us a modified plan. So again, if they drop it off to you the day after your meeting, we could have revisions before you guys even have a meeting.
Correct.
So we've picked up what's missing, what's lacking, and they'll come back and add all that stuff onto it.
Okay, now let's get on to the words that cause the problem. I think, personally, I think we can accept the application preliminary. We can accept the preliminary plan. We can accept the final application, and we approve the final plan. So that we accept, and then approve at the very end. And in all cases, none of that is in stone. There's a page.
With that being said, Joyce, moving on to the preliminary plan on page 14,
Yeah,
under H,
yeah,
shall make findings of fact of the application and approve with conditions, or deny the preliminary plan. And I guess that's, I want to get rid of that.
under preliminary plan.
Yes,
You want to get rid of the
words
word
approve.
approve and say accept.
Because I said the only thing we need to approve is the final plan.
Was my thinking. So, Ken, we're going to ask your
But
advice.
on the preliminary plan, if they've laid out 9 lots and we accepted 9 lots or whatever it is, and they come back with a final plan, then, you know, everyone should have some assurance that we're at least talking 9 lots. When we go to final, we can't start saying, well, we really want 4 lots here.
No, I agree with that,
You know,
Ken.
so-
But this is what I'm saying in there is, we can make conditions on the preliminary, you know, some changes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay? And if you go and approve this, Ken, and I'm gonna be on the other side right now, and you come up with stuff that needs to be changed or whatever, you've already approved it. So what's
Approved with conditions. The
yeah,
conditions would be.
but why can't you accept it with conditions?
One of the things that brought this particular issue to light was it was put on a public forum that we had accepted and approved a previous subdivision.
But that's, if you believe what you read online, then you're a fool.
Well-
Without corresponding back, it wasn't a town website or anything, it was some Facebook post or something, I think
Well,
that's what you're referring to.
It absolutely was,
And then it's gotta be retweeted or however that
And
works.
then it just grows from.
Oh, yeah, yeah, it
grows
does,
and
yeah.
grows
So
and
the
grows.
language is important.
Oh, yeah.
That's why,
But that doesn't mean you're going to fix what somebody posts.
no, I'm not talking about fixing what they
Exactly,
post, but I'm talking about now.
Our terminology.
I think
that changing it to
Well-
accept will eliminate some of the misinformation that gets out.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll never eliminate
It's
all of
never
it.
gonna, all of it, it's not in that, but that's the one that bubbled this to the surface for me. Because there have been several things lately in public forum that are just totally out the window. And I personally am not ever gonna go on a public forum and say, that's not what we said, that's not, because as Ken said, people who read it are foolish, they don't know what's going on.
And even when you tell them.
And even when you tell them, they may not
They
believe
still
you.
don't.
Right, they may not believe you.
Well, my whole reason for this really isn't what they think out there. My whole reason for this is clarity for the
For us,
board.
yeah.
And like I said, the only thing we have to approve is the final plan.
Right.
And if we accept the preliminary plan with the conditions, when they come back with the final plan, if those conditions aren't in the final plan, then we just don't approve it.
And relating to, you know, in addressing what Ken said, you know, you got a subdivision that you accept the subdivision, preliminary plan of 9 lots. And then, we're not acting in good faith if we all of a sudden go back and say, we only want 4. We're not acting in good faith. If we make
Exactly.
that kind of a
Oh,
change,
exactly.
which I don't ever see happening.
No, no.
Or all of a sudden, we say we want an addition on the school. I mean, that comes out of nowhere from, when
Right.
we went from preliminary, was never brought up in that. And I don't see that happening, but,
That's my only issue with that whole thing.
So we're crossing out approved and changing to accept
Yeah.
is my version.
Is that whatever?
Just in the one location on page 14?
It says it
It's
2 or
always
3 times on the same
Unless
line.
it's someplace else.
That's only,
We accept applications.
We'd have to go through and like really read
Yeah.
this closely to find, to make sure that there's no other place
Yeah.
that it needs to be changed.
Because then,
and you can, in J, you can change that where approval to acceptance of a preliminary plan shall not constitute approval for the final plan. And that's a perfectly good explanation right there.
it is, and that's what it says.
So you change approval to acceptance. Under J.
Now, reading the rest of that is very straightforward. New information comes in that may need to be reviewed.
Yeah. But, so I think those are the 2 places that need to be,
Right,
at least that's all I've seen.
Yeah.
okay.
Which is the second one, the one under J?
J, yeah.
J,
Okay.
Just that first word, plus 3 and then,
There, so acceptance.
yeah.
yeah,
And I think, I mean, just moving forward, it's gonna be so much easier. Clarification on exactly where we are.
right. And I think what we have to keep in mind is our motions. When we make a motion,
Yep,
to use the right verbiage.
just like Gavin said,
Yeah,
and I'm guiltier than most people, because I'm usually,
we all are, but.
Yeah, at the end of the day, if there's ever an issue and we go to court, the only thing the judge looks at is the findings of facts. He's not gonna read the minutes, he's not gonna watch the video. It's the findings of fact we lay out of,
Okay,
it was a permitted use, it was in this zone, this is it, and we'll lay that out, and North Star will do whatever we ask. They will lay out the findings of fact for us, they'll lay out the motions for us, they'll do whatever we ask for them, so
okay.
once we get going on that, that'll be pretty good.
so we can have that, Ken, to vote on Thursday?
The accept,
Yeah,
we'll need a public hearing to change
in this
In
one,
this
in this one here,
Regulations?
in the subdivision book,
okay.
not town meeting, just through us here.
Okay,
And I think we'll just want to spend a little bit more time and see if there's other things in here, simple things we want to change,
Yeah.
and do 5 or 6 in one night versus just the one.
Okay,
well, if you go to the final plan right now, page 19, we would have to have approved all of under C. We have, and that would even be under findings of fact, wouldn't it? All of these, 1 through 6? You only brought up an interesting thing between may and shall on public hearings when it comes to this.
Oh, yeah,
subdivision.
it's, I mean, historically, we've always had them, but in preliminary, I think it's May, right?
I believe that's correct. Like, you don't have to have them till the final. I think I did ask Bob about that when we spoke, and he says it's kind of like, what's going to make things move more smoothly. Keeping the door shut or keeping it open.
right, under 14 on G, on the preliminary.
Yeah, if the board decides to hold a public hearing.
Yeah,
Right.
And we never have for preliminary with prior boards, we've always done it on the final, but we never really notified the abutters either when we were in receipt of an application. We waited for a final plan.
Okay.
so why wouldn't we want to
the other side, if you have public input at preliminary, when you go to final, you've gotten all the public input there, and you may change where the road comes out or something. The developer may decide that, geez, that's not a bad idea, let's move this and move that, so. It does say may, right? If
I
the board
believe so,
determines, so
yeah.
leave it in. If you guys determine you want it,
Just
I
let's,
think, I think it should be left, because there's certain instances where we would want to hear from the public prior to the final.
Yeah, it depends on the project.
It depends on the project.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
do we have, what does it say under final for public hearings?
So shall.
Yeah.
So, page 20J.
Right.
If the
It
board
says if
decides.
they
It
decide.
says if they decide.
It says it shall, that's what I was looking at. but-
Yeah,
Yeah, if the
But there's
board
an if
decides.
before that.
but before that,
Yeah,
There's always a
then
yeah.
that if
30
before it.
days. So that gives the board the latitude to, if we need it, we need it.
Right.
Similar
But I would think
to,
we would
This
need
is-
at
this
least one whether it be
Somewhere.
We
preliminary
need,
or
we need one
final.
at someplace, but this
Like
is
good-
exactly
good
what Yoli
practice.
wrote. This is exactly what Yoli
Right.
brought up was J, because it was if the board
yep,
decides.
so it's if on both lines.
Yeah.
We could put when the board decides to move forward.
No, I don't think when.
Similar to the one lot subdivision, you guys were looking at the other night, it's pretty minor, it's just a redivision of another division, it's on a state road. That barely crosses the threshold for needing the public hearing, but why not? Throw the
Yeah.
notices out, open the hearing, any public, nobody
They show up,
speaks,
they
close
show
it,
up.
and you move
I mean,
on.
I mean, I think it's good just for transparency.
Oh, definitely,
Definitely.
yeah, and that way there, when all of a sudden, somebody builds this huge place or whatever, it's like, it was a public hearing, we sent you a letter and you didn't come. It's,
Exactly.
That's the most we can do.
So why wouldn't we eliminate those three words? Determine whether to, and just the board shall hold a public hearing on the final plan application.
Because you might want it at the preliminary.
Well, you
And that's
can.
tying you
You
to,
can.
well, no, but that's tying you to having a second, perhaps having a second hearing if you held one at the preliminary.
Well, I think you should always have one before the final, myself personally.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm just saying that ties you
I
to it.
think we
Yeah,
don't understand.
I think you should.
Procedure now, anyway.
Yeah.
I do too.
Like I said, I don't disagree with what you're saying, it's just that the language mandates it.
I think
If
it
we
is, it
change
is
it.
something we can determine, Leslie, would you agree with
Because it
that?
says if you want it,
Because
you have it.
if you want to do it, you can do it.
Right.
If you don't, we take a vote, whichever way it goes is what we do.
It seems to run in cycles. We'll do 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 subdivisions in a row and not touch a conditional use permit. And the conditional uses, we'll do a bunch of those, and it's like a subdivision. How do we?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, let's pull that back out and see what it was. Is it sketch first or preliminary? We just haven't touched one for a while, and then you refamiliarize yourself with it, so.
Right.
Well, my problem with that is the fact that it depends on who's on the board.
Oh, yeah.
And if you changed it to you shall have one, because the way it is right now, you don't have to have a public hearing. If we're the type of people on this board that says we don't want public hearings, and be more of a dictatorial type board, we'd never have one. And I think that some of this stuff should be taken out of the hands of, depending on who's on the committee. And having 2 or 3 public hearings, I understand that's a little much, but I think at least one place in here, it should be mandatory that you have a public hearing
But the board can change that at any given time, too.
after a public hearing.
When they receive information from the public and do what they
Yeah.
feel fit at the time, the board at the time.
But that, I mean, that's just my opinion. You guys can do, you wanna leave it just how it is, I made my whatever, and I'm fine with it either way.
I mean, and Dennis, I certainly agree with, understand what you're saying, and I agree that there should be a public hearing. I just don't see, and I think we always should have a public hearing at some point. I just don't see mandating it at a specific time when it might be better to do it at another time. And then you're mandated to have another one when perhaps you don't need it. So and it's just the mandate that could pose a problem.
What I'm hearing is agreement over here.
Yeah.
And I think by leaving it the way it is, for the time being, and that it remaining how it is would be a good thing. Just, it's not a bad thing, it's not anything, I think it's fine the way it is. Worrying about who's on the board, I can't be. I think we're a very diverse board.
Well, I appreciate it, I didn't get rid of the board.
And, you know, I mean, unless you're telling us you're, you know.
No, but I have dealt with boards that were very dictatorial,
Oh, yeah.
you know what I mean?
But I think we've got a fine balance here.
Oh, I agree.
And all we can do is work with what we
And-
have
and
right
we-
now. We can't anticipate
No,
every eventuality that might
Yeah.
happen because it might not.
right.
Well, but that's what we're supposed to be dealing with, the future.
Well,
Well, we can't argue that one with you, that's for sure.
I got one.
You got one. Wait a minute, everybody. Second time for Dennis, he's got
but we
one.
don't have a crystal ball.
It's like
either.
once a
And-
month.
And looking at who's on the board at any time in the future, isn't something that we should, I think, be worried about, because first of all, we have no control over that.
No, I appreciate that.
And they're gonna do whatever they want, no
They
matter.
are. Well, you know, okay, I think we kind of chewed this
Yep.
to death. And so until Ken gets back, I'm gonna make a proposal that we put a board up here on this wall and we'll put everybody's names on it. And we have 2 for Dennis and maybe we put 1 for you up there when you get on and we can, you know, we'll
Keep
see
score.
what we do. You know, gold stars like when you were little. And if you were a good kid, you got a gold star. If you want, you get a big
I
black
used to
check
love
mark.
them silver stars.
Oh,
More than
you
others.
want what kind of stars?
Silver ones.
So, I don't know.
I never got too many gold ones.
Well, you never got gold ones in my house, you got a black mark or a gold star.
That's what we got too.
No, that's fine. We'll leave it at
So
that.
we'll leave that one like that. Are we,
Well, I did have a couple changes in
and the other ones, I know from,
the subdivision
Well, let's-
regs, but
let's
Ken's
turn-
not here.
I know, but what's
Okay, we
page
can
are you
review
on?
them if you want. I brought
Absolutely.
them forward to the board probably a year ago
And you brought them forward last Thursday.
now. For the most, yeah.
Yeah, what pages are you on?
Did you give us copies of that again? Yeah.
No, because
you did.
really it's one sentence
Okay.
petition, everything else is just adding a word, so I didn't type it up.
Okay, no, that's fine.
Give us a page.
Page 40,
Yeah,
we're in the cluster development regs.
yeah. And the first one that you want
I
to
had
talk
one
about.
on page 40, number 5A, 15% of the area of the lot to account for roads, driveways, and parking. I wanted to add the word driveways into
And your,
that particular, and the reason
No,
being, on
yeah.
page 41, they do cite driveways.
under which, oh, I'm on the top, so we want to add that here.
So that's
We gotta move
5A.
down a little bit.
You're talking about, Gavin?
Yeah,
Driveways.
15% of the area of the lot to account for roads, driveways, and parking.
I'm sorry, guys, we gotta stop the meeting. My pen's stuck in the window.
Hold
Do you need
that.
help?
Oh, Paul,
I think I got it. I got it.
What section were you on, Gavin?
I'm on page 40 in the cluster development regs.
Yeah?
5A, I wanted to insert the word driveways, 15% of the area of the lot to account for roads, driveways, and parking.
and the justification is,
On page 41, 7, the second half of that paragraph, however, at least 50% of the area of the entire parcel of tract shall be included as common space. Common open space shall not include road right-of-way, streets, drives, or parking. we are defining driveways as separate from parking or roads, as stated in number 7, and I'd like to add it in 5A.
I'm fine with that.
I got no issue with that.
And then right underneath number 7, number 12, the common open
I
space
guess I
shall.
lost you again, Gavin. What page you on?
Page 41,
Oh, I'm sorry, it's 12. Remind me.
number 12, the common open space shall be owned and managed.
Yeah.
So
I have
insert
that
the
one.
word in there.
Mm.
And then below that, I was hoping to add number 14, which would be, I had 2 options going that I wanted to discuss with the board. Buffer of common open space, 100 feet with all abutting properties, or if it's a small lot, buffer of 1 foot per acre with abutting properties to help with neighbors.
Perimeter, we're talking a perimeter buffer,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, taking the full size of the lot.
Yeah, so the common space would be buffer anyways.
This would count for part of the common space, you know what I mean? It's not in addition to the common space requirement. It's just that some of the common space be used in the perimeter of the lot.
What would be the advantage of doing that?
Well, there'd be quite a few advantages for the neighbors, obviously, and for the people in the cluster subdivision, being that they're right next to a couple other houses. They would have this buffer so they weren't just houses everywhere. It would break it up. It would also help with groundwater level, I was thinking, because you have a lot of wells in one area, have a little space between the neighboring houses and their wells. And it's something we discussed several times.
We did.
So you're not talking like around the whole subdivision, you're talking between the individual lots?
No, around the perimeter of the whole
Perimeter.
subdivision.
Okay,
Or, in this case, it would be the cluster subdivision,
yeah.
where they have the common open space, and it would count as part of common open space. It's not above and beyond that.
So basically, there'd be a fence around the whole subdivision, but every, obviously vegetated fence.
Yeah, exactly,
Right,
exactly.
right.
It would be the
So it
vegetated
would
buffer.
be on, right, so you have your road right there, your road in the middle, houses on both sides of the road, right?
Yeah,
So you're talking about a buffer all the way around, so you want
Yeah.
you want the houses in the middle of the lot.
well, no, the cluster subdivision, like
Cluster.
Mason Farms, we have way in the front, and then we have the common space out back.
Okay.
So they wouldn't, I mean, you wouldn't have to site your cluster within the center of the lot, just that, I mean, this buffer is by no means to make it in the center too. Just 100 feet or 1 foot per acre. I mean, that's kind
Right.
of
I
the
mean,
size of
it
the buffer.
basically builds up some privacy between the cluster and any neighboring
The people that are there.
people who are already
Yeah.
there,
Yeah, because
you know,
they're used to looking out and seeing the
nothing.
woods and the moose or something, and now there's 35 houses there. It would be nice to have a buffer, so, because, I don't know, just,
Yeah, understood.
Would that be inside, Gavin, what would be the exact terminology you want?
well, do you guys feel like you'd want to go with a sliding scale buffer depending on the size of
Yeah,
the
that's fine.
parcel, or would you want to go with a standard buffer of some
No, I
defined
think
I
the
think that-
sliding scale
A
is
perimeter buffer,
vegetated buffer?
vegetated.
I got 1 foot per
1
acre,
foot, or
and I said with abutting properties. Because like along a wetland or something, there's already a buffer provided there, like a state wetland or whatever, so I don't know. Like the lake, there's already a buffer, so I said abutting properties, but we could do it on every side, I don't mind. And like the roadside. it
Well,
would-
sometimes,
Well, like the roadside, you wouldn't necessarily need to have it in this case, because that's not an abutting property, that's the road. So, I mean, there is a little bit of leeway to discuss that too.
You could just say, you know, the perimeter of the subdivision.
exempt in the roadside.
yeah,
I mean, it would be nice to have it on the roadside, but then when you look at what we did at Mason Farms, we were able to create a larger space out back by pushing, having them in the front. So.
Yeah, and that's the intention of the cluster.
right.
Yeah, right. So I was thinking with the budding properties, just to help with the, neighbors.
Would this
Oh,
be
if that's the
conflict?
intent of the cluster, isn't that a little bit redundant?
No, not really, because you can have nothing. You know, whether I'm looking into your back windows from my house, I can be looking into your bedroom windows or your kitchen, whatever's on the back of your house. But if there's a buffer, we both have privacy.
Yeah, like the little yard would be more private to have your picnic table.
Right, you know.
Whatever you got back there, so.
Yeah, you know.
Would this be in conflict? And I realize it's two different things, but would this be in conflict of what we're asking businesses to do to retain the buffer between the road and?
Similar.
It would kind of mimic that, I would think, I mean.
But I mean, we just talking about not counting the roadside, but we do count the roadside with businesses.
Well, I mean, I would hope the board would encourage a buffer with the road, but in some cases, it's not the best
Way of
use of
doing
the
it.
property. So I wouldn't want to mandate that we have that buffer with the road when we could pull them away from the resource further and have them close to the road or something like this.
That's just for clusters anyway, right?
Right.
Right.
If you're in, you
I'm
know,
fine with it, yeah. I mean, just
Yeah. Oh, no, it's good to thresh it out too, so that we
yeah, we
know.
have to.
I just don't see the point. I mean, I don't have an objection per se, but I just.
Well, if you look at the comprehensive plan, we're just trying to preserve the rural character of the town. Like the character of Acton is not cluster subdivisions, and we don't want it to look that way. So personally, so.
Yeah.
And just according to the papers we got. Anyway, so we can,
I would
if
tell
Ken's
you.
got a pretty good recording of that, I mean, I'd be
Yeah.
open to changing it up too, like, I just came up with 1 foot per acre. I mean, we
No,
could do
but
any.
I think
any
that's
sort
a
of
very,
scale. It's easy and,
it's not that it's easy, I think it's very fair.
mhm.
I think it's a very fair thing, you know, fair way to do it. Because everybody's equal. It's 1 foot per acre.
Right.
But I think it really does go back a lot to the comp plan, keeping the rural integrity of the town. So,
But with that being said, in the comp plan, they also said we should encourage cluster
and
subdivisions.
it says we should
So-
encourage them in
It kind of is two
clusters,
different things.
and we should encourage growth.
Well, there's not different things.
So those are in conflict right there.
No, they're not.
Not really, not really.
No, they're saying the same thing, because the cluster would provide a larger open space in one area as opposed to breaking up lots on the whole thing and having more roads in there. You'd have more back lot, like, think of Mason Farms, were you on the board for that one? You know, Mason Road, you know what I'm talking
Yeah, I
about?
know what you're talking about.
There's quite, I don't know, it was like 40 acres in the back, open space that was preserved, because we pulled all the houses and clustered them together. So that wildlife habitat, water quality, just all these sort of things are enhanced in some cases with a cluster subdivision. And I think that having a buffer on the side so that your neighbors aren't, you know, because it's, they might think, oh, they're gonna build a house next to me, but they wouldn't think, oh, they're gonna build 6 houses right next to me. And these people are used to having the woods right there. I think it makes, does, they are saying the same thing.
So how do you encourage growth, but then discourage, you know, and then want to keep the rural nature of the town? So.
That's for you to figure out.
No, but I mean, you just
That's
said,
No, that's a good question.
what you said before, Gavin, when you first started talking, the integrity of the town, right, whatever you
No, we don't want to
know,
give it just.
where the town is.
I won't forget.
The cluster subdivisions really isn't the rural atmosphere for the town.
No.
No.
And so my understanding in the comprehensive plan is that that is what the rural community is, what you're supposed to try to preserve. And the cluster subdivision isn't farms on every hill and like what Acton was.
Right.
So to me, you can't have it, it's saying, to me, it is two different things. Because the cluster vision isn't maintaining the integrity of what the town is really.
It depends on the lot, but I think a lot of times it is protecting the back lots, you know,
Oh, it is.
quality, your resource
A
protection.
large space.
The large, it's a, if it's a large
Resource, you know,
space.
protecting the natural resources
No, I
of the
agree,
town.
I agree.
It helps with the rural integrity, and then people are still able to make a living off rural.
And that's why I prefer a cluster subdivision than with a regular one, because you're maintaining more open space.
Every lot.
Every lot is much more open space.
But we do allow cluster subdivisions, and I think this would, I don't know, that's all I gotta say about that. There was a couple other small things in here that I wanted to check out, like just on page 39, right, the page before. They cite the dates on this stormwater best practices, Maine Stormwater Best Practices, Management Practices Manual 2006. And I was just wondering if we had a more recent version than 2006, or if we just wanted to get rid of the date.
And just put most,
Yeah, I've got some more of those
Put
on.
the,
Just put the most recent version or
Yeah.
something like this. Because I've got some on 23, I've got a couple of the same.
what was that first one you had, Gavin?
Page 39,
Yeah.
D.
under D.
and it's in the first paragraph under number 2. Last word is 2006.
Is there a volume 3? No.
Yeah, we have to take out,
Just get rid of the date so we,
well, even volume, should we
Well, it
take
says
out
volume
volume
two.
2?
Or most recent volume.
Yeah, most recent volume,
most recent Maine Stormwater Best Management Practices.
yeah, because I'm sure it will be volume 3 when there's the next one out.
And then on page 23, there's 2 more of those same 2006s.
On the next page, you said the other
23,
23.
yeah, it's a little ways back.
Yeah, under.
Under B, 4th line down, protection 2006, and then,
And it should say most recent,
yeah.
yeah, it's something to that
Well,
effect.
this one's the Maine
It does
Department of
say,
Environmental Protection 2006, so.
The B does say the most recent edition,
Of the
but
stormwater.
and then it gives the dates, we just needed to take the date off.
Just take the date out of that. Okay, what about
And
A?
then
What
C.
about back at it, up at A?
Well, I saw in 1991, but that one is a very specific document, Maine Department of Environmental Protection and the Cumberland County Soil and Water Conservation District, so it was like a collaboration, and I don't know if they have put out a more recent one, and maybe 1991 would help people find the thing. I have it circled on my page, but
Okay.
I was uncertain what we wanted to do with it.
Well, that's fine, we'll talk about it.
And then I did have another 2006, and on the same page, C1, 3rd line down. I think that was all the ones I find. There might be another one in there, but I did read the whole thing last year, looking through it. So just those dates. I think that was everything I had in this.
So why wouldn't you want to get rid of that 1991?
I wasn't sure. My thinking was that because it was a very specific document that isn't published every year, this is, it's quite a long title for the thing.
Isn't that the same chronology though, you're doing away with the 2006? Because you don't know
Well,
if
the
it's updated.
best stormwater management for Maine, from the DEP, they put that out quite often, I think, or more often than 2006. Whereas this specific document was a collaboration between DEP and Cumberland County Soil and Water Conservation District, 1991. So I'm not sure if they published another one, because it's very specific to our, well, Cumberland County.
To Cumberland County,
Not quite our region, but
right.
Cumberland County.
But
So I'd be fine with taking it out as long as we,
if they have,
if they published another one, then yeah, take it out.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we just take it out and just, so it's just the one that we use.
Well,
The year.
if that's the only copy of the document ever printed, so to speak, was in 1991, it would help people find the thing, having the date in there. But I don't know. I mean, that's why I just
Well,
skipped over it.
wait.
You could just add or newest version.
Yeah,
That way if you use the 91 if you can't find the newer version.
Yeah.
That way, if there has been a new
I've never seen the
collaboration-
document, so
yeah, well,
I don't know what's
So
in
leave it at that, it's fine with me, I just,
Or newest version.
there could be 4 new ones in the set, I don't know.
Or newest version, as Leslie suggested.
I mean, that way you're not tied to that
Specific,
can't say that word, document.
the Pacific Ocean one?
Yes.
It's floating away.
It's floating away, that's all. So if you put or latest.
So we could look into that and see.
Most
Well,
recent.
let's not put it off by
That's what I had,
saying,
was most recent version.
most recent version. Let's not say we're gonna look into it, let's
Okay.
just fix it.
Yep, I think
Most
that's
recent, most recent.
Yep, that's it, most recent version. So I think that's what,
Nobody's
okay.
intending on me to sign this stuff.
Anything else in the subdivision regulation book? And I know there will be at times, but for right now.
Well, for me, I go through this thing quite a bit this week.
Yeah? Then,
All right.
that's a small thing.
Excellent.
Excellent. Next small things we had short-term rentals and construction yards. You know, Ken, you've got copies of that, correct?
I'm still in subdivision.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you out of subdivision now?
I'm out of subdivision.
Oh, good. Glad you
So I
could join
just,
us.
we printed some of the chicken scratch stuff we've been working on, so we can write them out, mark them up, and... Thank you.
Yeah, one more here, please.
Let me see what's actually starting to stick, and then we can draft something up.
Yeah.
Ken? This is stuff that we've talked about, that you've written down,
Yes.
okay? And Gavin had his, stuff he
Yep.
put out.
It looks like mine's been pretty much incorporated into this version.
Yeah. I would like to,
For the most part, I mean, there's some differences.
I would like to propose a little different scenario for regulation on this. And it's basically five things that are required. One is an annual inspection by the fire marshal.
Fire marshal's not gonna do it, I wouldn't think.
Well,
Fire marshal in the town of Acton.
Yeah, we had active
Which
fire
is considered the
department
fire chief.
Yeah.
okay,
So can we use fire department?
or fire chief.
well,
The
whatever.
fire chief of the town of Acton is the fire marshal.
But aren't every firefighter in Acton qualified to do inspections?
No,
No. And a lot of this is gonna be
No?
code enforcement, they're not gonna wanna get into septic and parking.
No,
Oh,
I
no, no,
appreciate
no,
this,
that's
Ken.
a different.
So when I get done here, with an annual inspection by the fire marshal, inspection of the code enforcement, and I would assume that part of that would be your septic is acceptable. You could add that in also if you wanted. Water test that your water's
Safe to drink.
safe to drink, and insurance,
It's only,
Water.
That's only 3,
it's 4.
and a rental agreement.
yeah.
That's 5. These are the 5 requirements that you need to have to rent property in the town of Acton. It's pretty black and white,
Short term or any rental?
any rental. Unless we're just gonna adjust in short term.
We're only interested in short term.
Only short term.
For this section of the ordinance,
Yeah.
the rest of
we're
it
gonna
would
go
all
back
be.
through.
But that's very simple, it's very understandable. You get a thing from code enforcement, from the fire marshal, your septic, is capable of doing whatever you gotta do, and you got insurance, and you got a contract.
I wrote water test on this list that Ken gave us.
Yeah.
I liked that one, that was something I hadn't
Yeah.
thought of.
Yeah.
What about people that rent month to month?
Well, that's short term.
No.
No, less than
No.
30
Less
days.
than 30 days, is
Well,
short
that's a
term.
month.
No, I mean, when I had the
That's why we
apartment in
defined
Boston,
it.
I did not have a lease. I rented month to month. I mean, it's,
Well, that's
That-
less than 30 days, I mean, anything less than 30 days.
no.
A month is 30 days or 31, so.
No, but a month-to-month tenant, I know exactly what you're saying.
You're talking to somebody that's never rented a place in his
Yeah, I mean, that's,
life,
you don't- I didn't have a rental agreement, but I still, I mean,
And I mean, one of my kids has a month-to-month in New York City. They don't live there, but when they want it, it's there, you know. It's a rent control
I mean,
situation.
when I first
That is
moved
not-
in there, I
that's
mean, I
not-
had a one-year lease. After the one-year lease, it turned to,
Where the landlord could say, see you later
it gave
anytime.
you 30 days
And he gave you
notice.
30 days notice. I don't think that is the same as what is called short-term.
Well, no, but Dennis said this was for all rentals, so that's why I'm.
No, I said this is
No.
for all rentals.
No, it's just short
They said
term.
no.
Just short-term.
Yeah, you know, I asked if this was for all
Oh, I said,
rentals,
of course
and you
it
said,
is.
yeah.
Right, and they said, no, it isn't.
You're looking at source.
I gotta take this star down.
Yeah,
Putting
you gotta
the
look
board
at
up
your
with
source.
stars,
Yeah.
you know?
But your month-to-month rentals, they'd have to have an eviction process to get you out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's all
That's your
mainly the state
address,
law.
that's where
Yeah.
you're getting your mail.
Mail.
and-
So we need a definition of short-term rentals.
I was just gonna put that top list of stuff into one sentence there. Short-term rentals is rental for less than 30 days, and it consists of a room, the apartment, or the whole house.
Yeah, that's fine.
And keep it simple.
See, all you have to do is read it down, and you know what's wrong.
So,
Let's give you the benefit of the doubt.
Don't give me the benefit of the doubt.
We're taking away the gold star.
Yeah,
I think one thing we wanna stay out of is, these places aren't gonna meet today's standards and codes. So we want a simple list of what we're looking for. And safety's the intention of it. Each bedroom's gonna have an egress window or equivalent, something in that range.
that would be under the fire marshal, though, right? Can't under their
It's in the
inspection.
building code. Myself, I try to keep the fire department out of it, to have them scheduling inspections and things like that when they're on the rescue calls of things and stuff like that. It makes it more difficult when you have two regulatory agencies coming out to look at something that one could do. If I needed help at any time, I could ask them to, hey, could you look at this, what do you think of this? But if I'm just looking for an egress window and a smoke detector, posting street addresses, septics, things like that, most of it's all gonna be us. They'd be involved for outside burn permits and things like that.
I guess, and this might have nothing to do with it. If, and I'm not even gonna use the right words here, but social services, for example, if you're going to, take responsibility to care for a child, you know, foster child, at your house, the first thing that happens is the fire marshal comes and inspects the home.
Same with daycares.
And they make, about your windows and your railings and your smoke detectors and, I mean, they go through the whole place. And if you do what the fire marshal says, I wouldn't think there'd be much for you to do again. I guess that's what I'm saying with this whole thing is your department is overworked as it is. And I would like to see some of the responsibility put on somebody else's lap and not, I mean, if Jim said, I think last time there's like 50 places or something like that out there right now for rent that he saw. I mean, so that's 50 inspections you gotta go up there.
There's more than that.
And you know what I'm saying is, you're stretched to the limit now.
Yep.
And that was my whole reason for the fire marshal.
Oh, and I fully agree with that too. There's a lot of training on that aspect in education as well too, to keep up on top of, and the current chief is qualified for that, yes. I don't know what his lead time is for that type of stuff too, and I'm just thinking if it's one-stop shopping, it's much easier for the public. In one aspect, it is gonna be more work, and the other aspect, we get rid of the complaints coming in somewhat. I think as soon as we get down to certificate of insurance with short-term rental as a use on it, that's gonna eliminate half of these rentals.
there is going to be a lot of pushback on this.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's why, to me, I would keep it as simple as possible.
I know that a lot of my neighbors do rentals.
Yeah.
And they are not gonna be happy when they see this.
Oh, no.
I think too, one of the things is, and I appreciate what you're saying with that, but, you know, it's like, nobody was happy when they had to start getting their cars inspected or registered. You know, it's going against the norm, but for safety's sake, some of these things, why did we let it happen? Why, you know, it can be very detrimental to a neighborhood as well. You know, and
Yeah,
they're running a business.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
running a business, and that can be detrimental to a neighborhood.
The abutters
The abutters.
to a short-term rental are gonna be all for this.
They'll be for this. Now, jumping back to fire marshal or you, my feeling, and I think I said that either at the workshop or last week, is that these people, not everybody's going to want to do it, not everybody's going to want to get a permit, not everybody's going to do that, but there are good people out there who, well, we have to get a permit. What does that mean? Pay $10 and let your house be inspected, and this is what you need. And they're going to, and they're going to do it. But I think the permit process isn't going to be in May. You know, it's going to be a 2, 3, 4 year process. And maybe you only have to be re-inspected every 3 to 5 years, unless we get a call that, you know, I think you had an experience. You were at a B&B and it had a smoke detector, but it didn't have batteries in it.
Yeah.
You know, and someone says, hey, we rented this place, it was this and this, but dang, you know, there was nothing in it.
I completely agree with these properties needing to be safe. But then we run into, you know, and I see this argument going to come up where people are gonna say, I own this place, I pay taxes, why are you dictating to me what I can do with my property? So you're running into property owners' rights also. Where is that line with,
Because you've decided to, you're in a residential neighborhood and you decided to run a business. And that's what you're doing, you're running a business.
And these people have been doing it for years and years and years. So now all of a sudden, I mean,
Things change.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I know a lot of them, I mean, you're gonna not have the compliance rate that you think you're gonna have.
I think we understand that. It's going to take time. But better to have 70% than have nothing.
Non-compliance, once you have a program set up, non-compliance, if something should happen and they have a deadly fire, somebody gets killed, they'll come back onto the town, they'll come back onto anybody that had anything to do with it. You have a compliance and they didn't follow through and they didn't get it inspected. Now, that takes the pressure off from the town's liability.
Well, I mean, and I understand that, and I'm not saying that we should not do something. I'm just saying we need to be cognizant of, you know, where the property owners' rights. I mean, it's, you know, I looked at what Gavin had written, you know, and he wanted to have a rental unit not located on a non-conforming lot or within a non-conforming structure.
That didn't make my list.
That didn't make anybody's list.
Yeah.
Or within the shoreland zone at least 100 feet from the high water. I mean,
You gotta keep it simple.
yeah.
Exactly, or it's
And
not
I
gonna
mean,
get
you gotta
passed.
keep it simple. You can't dump it onto the code enforcement office because he can't handle what he's got now.
Right.
I mean,
And I do think,
and I'm not saying that to be a wise guy, Ken.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, looking at your backlog that you have, dumping this onto you. I mean, if that's the case, there should be an application form that comes in for short-term rental. It will
Right.
be looked at, going,
Apply for the
how many
permit.
how many people is gonna be allowed in, in how many bedrooms you have? And this application could be set right here, you could do 90% of it right here, except for the final fire inspecting the building for safety, and fire issues.
So,
And it wouldn't have to be dealt with by Ken, it could be dealt with by one of the secretaries, could be dealt with.
Deputy, Brenda's the deputy CEO.
It could be dealt with by a member of his staff.
Staff.
And I'm gonna say, I'm already paying over 70% of the taxes in this town, and I can't even use the dump on Sundays, so why are you charging me more money?
And it's closed on the days that we most need it.
And that's
What
just
is
being
it
the
closed
devil,
on
that,
Labor Day?
that's
Biggest
just
day of the
being the
year.
devil's advocate, you know what I
I
mean?
mean, it's, most of these properties are owned by non-residents who pay at least 80% of our tax base. And,
Their second home, so they're wealthy enough to afford it because it's their second home. I can't afford a second home.
Well, that's, we can't,
Well, I don't know why this is digressing. I'd like to get back to the papers, just run through these, items, talk about
because
them.
this is how we find the direction we're going in. So, hang on. One of the things that we had talked about was the owner or the owner's representative, and perhaps if someone goes through a rental agency, they are the representative, is within a certain time limit of.
That's what we have, very top, it can spend 20 minutes to drop the property. I just
Exactly.
wanted to add while in use or while rented or something as a clause on there.
Well, it
Because a lot
is-
of these people go back to wherever they came from.
Yeah, but this is under the rental notes, it's not under, we can't tell them what they're doing there yet, when they are there, you know. That just, I think, it says it on because it's in the rental property. But I think one of the things is if we work with, we had said his name, the.
Elias,
Elias, you know, some of the rental agencies around the lake, that we bring them into this and we say, this is what we're doing, we want permits, and they can be very helpful to us, so they're gonna tell us to go fill the sand, one or the other, you know? And,
has anyone reached out to someone to see
thanks.
what the overall thought is on rental, on management companies?
I only have the one that I called, I haven't gotten a call back yet.
So I mean,
That's
I'd be
who we're-
interested to hear what they're saying and their input and their ideas as to what would work, how we would get the compliance.
I figure if we had a draft, something draft that either the board wants to go in this direction or not at all, then once I have a draft, then I can kind of bring
Yeah, and
it.
that's what we're trying to do, exactly.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, I agree with the safety needs to be foremost.
Mhm.
But I also don't want to see it be onerous on a good majority of our tax base.
Well,
So Ken,
Who
I have one.
who has no.
For your top line there, owner management within 20 minutes, travel property, we were gonna put a little clause that says like, while in use or while rented.
I'm not sure
Do you
that's
think that's
necessary.
necessary?
Nah, I don't think it is.
No.
All right, we have-
And
that
please
was-
let Leslie finish, because you kind of jumped over to there. So you were saying,
I think that we need to be cognizant of that.
thank you, Gary. So even these definitions are expanded a little bit.
I looked in the ordinance, I know I'm on one that said this. But I looked and I couldn't find that fireworks thing in there,
In the zoning?
No,
in the good neighbor
I looked
thing.
too, in the good neighbor, couldn't find
I
it
don't-
either.
I couldn't
I
find it
don't,
anywhere.
I don't think it is there.
I might have been
Is
misled.
this state law?
No,
No,
stating in fireworks anytime you want.
towns have different ordinances.
Yeah.
And, I mean, the only thing that I found out you can do is you can call the sheriff's department And
The decibels are too high.
well, there's what decibels, okay? That's the first thing. But they're rowdy and there's,
Yeah.
nefarious things going on over there.
I think that's the most you can do.
Yeah, that's it. They're disturbing the peace. So, and the sheriff's department in York County is going to take somebody off the road to go tell a bunch of people,
Knock it off.
knock it off.
The easiest way to solve that is send Ken Paul over there.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, like 2 o'clock in the
But
morning,
really,
somebody
2 o'clock
decided
in
to
the
shoot
morning.
off fireworks.
Oh, yeah. And it happens on all the lakes every year. You're better off, in fact, if that was such a problem, I would invite the lake associations. Send them a letter and say, please advise your people to knock off the fireworks.
Yeah, so, I mean, we don't even really need that, I don't think, the fireworks.
Cross it off.
Oh, I like that. I think it just covers everyone's butt and it's a smart thing to do. But, I mean,
So we got
I
one
spent quite a bit of time
that says
today.
no, and we got one that says yes.
No, well, the thing about no fireworks on site, they are legal, are they not in Acton now?
Well, if we put it right in, then.
No, hang on,
All right.
hang on, hang on. They're, and unless we go and inspect the property, and who's gonna do that?
It's just-
Where are your fireworks,
Well, if the neighbor says they were shooting off fireworks, that, we can write a letter to the owner and say, fireworks are not permitted at rental properties, please do not have that occur.
And usually when we get a complaint now, we'll be asking for, you got the video? Everyone's got a phone and a video and then be emailed in to us, so, I mean, just so. And again, usually it's the abutters complaining to us about the activity next door
Right.
is what kind of generated this, so. Just going down from the code stuff, we'd be looking for each bedroom have an egress window or something equivalent. I crossed off the word state certified for the smoke detector and carbon monoxide detector. One on each level, one in each bedroom, and those are electronic with battery backup.
Is everything hardwired?
Yeah,
What's the cost of if you, so say if you don't have them hardwired already, if you haven't done any upgrading of your house,
yep.
what would the approximate cost be to hardwire?
I think you can buy them for about 20, 25 bucks a piece, and the wireless ones that talk to each other remotely. The expensive part is when you're trying to run a wire from each one so they can talk to each other. You can have them wirelessly talk to each other, so you have an outlet here, you put one on the wall there, you have an outlet there, put one on the wall there, and you're doing the same upstairs, and then they just wirelessly will talk to each other.
Okay.
The
So it
problems-
would be cost prohibitive then?
No, and what we've seen on some of these things is that the rentals up here, 1,500, 2,000 a week, a week. So if it costs a little money up front,
Well, I mean.
You're gonna make it back.
It's like I said, you're gonna have pushback
Oh, of
as it
course.
is, so, I mean, you don't want to make it even more so.
no.
So if you had your place on the lake and every year you rent it for a week to your brother-in-law, your sister-in-law, your friend from work or something, you're not gonna trigger our threshold because you're not actively advertising this for rent. You probably should get one to be safer out there and meet the standard, and because it's gonna be hard for us to go out there if the person says, I'm just using my friend's camp. That's not you're not gonna creep into this. This is somebody that's actively has a management company that's renting it, it's online for rent, they're trying to rent it every weekend all summer long, every week, the whole time, year round, or however they want to. Those are the people that are gonna trigger us to come out and, well, that we're getting the complaints from. So the smoke detectors, the battery ones, they're just hard to keep the batteries in, especially with the permanent tenant ones. Fire extinguisher per floor, that's something we just threw in. We can strike it off if we need to. The street address is posted. State approved septic. And this is where we need to determine how many people per room. Because if you have a 3-bedroom septic, there's no way to calculate how many people you're having over there. And we're not going out at night and checking people's head counts and things, but if we're getting consistent complaints from the neighbors, then we're gonna have to have a conversation with the owner. And I would think as an owner, unless you have a place you don't care about, you're going to really want respectful people in there, and you're not going to want,
15 people in each bedroom.
yeah, well, I think you're gonna go 15 people for the whole place, yeah.
I'm just going back in time.
He's going back to his hippie days.
When I was a
yeah.
teenager,
What did you have?
and that was half the time.
So we just put 4 persons per bedroom is, and the bedroom count is what we're looking at, the septic. So you have to have a state-approved septic, which started in 1974. So if you don't have a state-approved septic, your system's 45 years older, you should be replacing it, never mind abusing it with additional flow. So if you had a 3-bedroom septic, your occupancy load should be 12. Seemed reasonable. I mean, I wouldn't want 12 people in my rental camp for a week. The certificate of insurance with short-term rental has a use on it. I don't know if use is the right word for that. I'll have to look at one of the ones I got.
Right.
It's not binder or something, but the permit will be posted on site with the address and the conditions that are on it. I think the board would be, and I'm thinking this is a permit that they don't have to come through the planning board for. This is just something we issue right up there. I don't know how we calculate parking spaces, but that's one of the bigger complaints we've got.
That would be contingent on what the property looks like.
Exactly,
Yeah.
everyone's gonna have a little bit of difference of something, or, so parking, that's, I can cross that one right off.
I would, yeah.
Yeah, get
Because
rid
a lot
of
of that
that.
stuff would be on private roads and we
Yeah.
have no control over that.
Do we care about the trash? Who's removing the trash, or
No.
do we care about fireworks?
I said no, Gavin said yes, I mean, so
Okay,
other
Joyce-
people have to
Joyce
talk
says-
about it.
Well, we can
Joyce
just bring it up
says
at the
yes.
meeting,
Yeah.
when we can vote on it, because we can't really
Uh-huh,
vote now, so
right.
no.
Well, not a vote.
The only issue I have with fireworks is you put it down or you don't. If you put it down and the town of Acton allows fireworks, there's no way in heck you're gonna be able to control it. There's not gonna be any way of enforcing it.
Yeah.
So if there's no way of controlling, no way of enforcing it, then they shouldn't be on this list. If you can't enforce
Well,
it and control it.
there is, and we have to find it, they're like 4th of July and New Year's Eve. And I believe it's a day before and a day before.
But I can't find it.
I know, but it might even be staked. You know, or.
I believe it is state. I
Yeah,
believe it is.
and, because we went through this with a lake
Well,
association. They,
fireworks is legal in the state of Maine now.
yeah, but
As
But
of 2 years
there's
ago.
certain time limits as to
Certain
when you can
time
let them
limits.
off.
You know?
there's certain time limits though.
Oh.
And I think they're supposed to be like 9 o'clock till,
And then nothing after like 10 o'clock is what.
yeah, I mean, it's very restrictive and it's still on the books and I believe it's state. I will make the effort to find that. So we'll do that
But, you
and
know, my belief is we can't do anything about it.
why
Why put it down,
put it
why put it down on a piece of paper?
It's
If
like,
everybody-
you know, Ken was talking about eliminating the dock regulations for the same reason, because
Right.
there's no enforcement. So why would we treat this any differently?
That's a good point.
The other thing is, you know, why are we thinking fireworks? Is it the noise, which wouldn't bother me as much as all that stuff going out to the lake with all the phosphorus all over that firework? And if you've ever, you know,
Last time people were going to it.
Yeah.
swam and looked at the bottom, that stuff stays on the bottom forever, the older skyrockets.
Oh
Now,
my God, yeah.
now I'm sure the newer stuff just goes up, explodes, and there isn't paper.
Every color is a different metal, you know,
Yeah.
sulfur, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
So all those metals going in the lake. I just think if it reduced some of the use, it would be beneficial to the town, and the insurance companies are gonna like it, and it covers the town's butt in case someone else's house next door catches on fire. They're not supposed to be doing this at a rental property, and it's covered. So I think we should discuss it at the Thursday.
Well, I have to
meeting.
come up to it on a
Yeah.
Thursday meeting.
Well,
I mean, we're
Yeah.
taking things off of here that aren't gonna be discussed at the Thursday meeting.
No,
And I think this
no,
thing
no,
should
no,
stay
no,
on
no.
for discussion.
No, we can say we've taken this off, we've taken that off, does anybody have an issue with that?
You bring it right
And
back
bring it
up.
right back up. Okay.
Okay.
Nothing has been in stone at these
I'd like to
workshops.
leave it on Ken's version as presented at the Thursday.
Well, we are all here talking, it'll happen.
You know, going back to your smoke detectors,
Yeah.
had a discussion the other day with the chief in his office in reference to smoke detectors. He says that he would not recommend any battery-operated smoke detector unless it's got a 10-year certified battery in it. Usually, it's got a 10-year life, it has a 10-year lifespan or above.
Yeah,
And at a certain point, you have to replace the whole unit.
yeah. Usually when you buy them, they're white, and by the time you throw them out, it's an ivory or green color. The only concern we have with those 10-year products are, these camps don't have heat in them all winter. So that smoke detector and battery is, -3 or 10 degrees. I'm not sure what that does to the 10-year cycle, and I haven't got a manufacturer to answer that to me. Because when you pull a building permit for renovations, you've got to bring the smoke detectors up to code in your whole house, even if you were just doing a living room addition. You got that big farmhouse, you've got to bring it up to code. So that's something nobody's excited to do quite a bit unless they've been through a fire themselves. Then they probably already have the smokes. So just screwing up some battery ones, and you can have interconnected battery ones as well too. That's why I bring the power to them.
Well, I would make that, the only thing that would be acceptable smoke detectors is hardwired smoke detectors that are alive all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay?
As I talked with one gentleman, he had been through a fire and he updated the electrical, and I'm like, you need to bring the smoke detectors up to code. And he said he had battery ones, and I'm like, so every year when you come out, you bring a pack of brand new batteries with you too? And he's like, yeah, I do. I said, well, you're better than me, because we go to camp, I don't think of bringing 9-volt batteries with me. The cooler's filled, but, the batteries just is nothing I think to bring.
Somebody who's been through a fire definitely takes care of that issue.
You would have electronic ones hardwired and just,
I've seen houses in this town that have battery operated, have hardwired smoke detectors, and also has a 24-hour monitoring system,
yeah.
As well. If we were gonna make a recommendation, hardwiring is the way to go.
How do you know?
The first thing that is gonna be said to you in reference to hardwiring is that if you hardwire a smoke detector, what is one of the major causes of fires in a household? Electrical circuits. Well, that is true. But if you hardwire a smoke detector, you hardwire it on its own circuit. You could put 3 or 4 on one circuit, but you do not run it back to an outlet and, connect it. It's on its own circuit. So that cuts a lot of the problem with the fire started, and it's not getting picked up because of the short circuit blew out the smoke detector.
Well, you can turn off that circuit breaker though for the, and then shut them all right down.
What's that?
You can also turn off the circuit breaker for those units and shut them all right down.
I can put a circuit breaker in. You can buy a circuit breaker that you can lock it into you can have it locked into the on position, and the only way it's going to come off is if you have to take the panel apart and totally.
I've not set up like that. I can switch that circuit breaker off and.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is
There are others
they have devices that you put on it that will not allow you to shut them off unless they're tripped internally. If they trip internally, they'll shut off, but you cannot turn them off.
Because, we had a problem when we were away last week where my neighbor who was doing some shoveling for us, we turned the heat down and there was a vent right near one of the units. And the heat, the change in temperature set it off, and he couldn't get it to stop. So he switched the circuit breaker on as he did it. There was no problem in the house.
You know what you do in that case? If you can't get them to shut off, there's a problem someplace.
No.
And it's a problem, if I had a smoke detector that I couldn't shut off or turn down, and I didn't know what, that's telling me that I still have a problem someplace. I would pick up the phone, call 911, and get somebody here that knows what they're doing.
I had the exact same problem last winter.
Yeah, I mean,
That
when we come home, turn
last
the heat
summer.
back up to the regular temperature, you know, flip the switch back on, and it's on.
You know, the guys will never, ever yell and scream at you for calling for something like that.
What's that?
And they'll yell and scream at you when they find out that you've been dealing with this problem and your house burned down, and you should have called them.
Well, we did call, because we could not figure out why.
That's what they're there for.
And-
That's what they're there for.
It's, I mean.
Do we want to table this until
We have a draft coming out, we'll take a look at it, if it looks good, then we'll bring it up to the board
Thursday,
at a
okay.
meeting, and then cut and shred and go
Go
from
from
there.
there, sounds good.
and try to schedule a meeting with Elias to see what?
Yeah, I'll try to give him another call and,
Yeah, that
get
sounds
his
very
input on
good.
it. He's the big one I can think of that does it.
We said that last week as well.
In reference to the fire marshal, I haven't been able to set a firm date, but I have been able to speak with the management and said either the 12th or the 14th, they should be able to have somebody here.
Yeah, we got time, and we're going to do this too. Okay, anything, I know Gavin would like to bring up construction.
Well, if people wanted to talk about the contractor yards,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
contractor yards.
Did you make another version of that, Ken?
No, I figured we'd go through it, you had some good ideas on that one.
Yeah, and if anybody else has ideas, I'd love to put them on, because I feel like there's a lot of work to be done. The first thing is finding a definition for a contractor yard, because that'll back up having this thing in the ordinance. And we thought about maybe putting the word, contractor/equipment yards, as the title says, is contractor yards, to help clarify what it was, but we didn't really pin it down. And then I don't know if everybody has this thing, I don't think I have it.
No, we got the one last week.
I thought I had one extra, was that 2 copies of the other thing. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Anybody else? I got one more. Existing yards in excess of 25,000 square feet will not be expanded. New yards will be designed in a consolidated manner not to exceed 25,000 square feet. That's just what I threw out there. And then I said management plan which details how the yard will be used over the next 5 to 10 years will be submitted to the land use office. This plan should seek to organize the yard, reduce its footprint, and revegetate. And written record of waste oil disposal for, depending on the type of yard, current size and age of yard, so we can monitor how the thing changes throughout time. Maybe it was given to them by their grandfather. They just got this property and it had a yard on it. So that's important information in terms of how we look at these things. And then a 75-foot buffer with wetland streams will be maintained. So that's what I had. If anybody had any suggestions or comments?
My thought is on the management plan. I don't know how that would work. Because nobody is going to say, I'm going to be doing the same thing in 5 years and I expect to have 2 more trucks or this or that, when, it could all go tomorrow. And to ask for that management plan might be a little deeper. Onerous, that's a good word, thank you.
Well,
That was just my thought.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Whatever you guys want to do would be great. I can pass it off to you. I've put quite a bit of input in, and that's probably good for today.
What we got?
Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about that today.
You don't want to?
Well, I can't read this thing today.
We're not, but we've done it, listen to what Ken's got to say.
Oh, Penn has a little intro about it.
I'm sure you
No.
do. You're not going to tell us about it at all?
I mean, that's quite a start.
That's cool, yeah, exactly, yeah.
So if anybody wanted to come up with anything for contractor yards, then we could discuss at the next meeting. Or a definition, anybody wanted to try to find a definition, maybe that's what Ken's doing.
Home-based contractor, yeah, is what it was called, in the one place that I,
And we are gonna put it under home occupation, so that would make sense.
Yeah.
as existing home-based contractor yards and allow their continuing operation to establish within the districts, blah, 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 blah. Let me, print this out, we've got enough time to,
Yeah, we do. Leslie, you had some feelings about that when you read it for the first time.
My God, they shouldn't have it turned up like that. Thank you, Dan.
So we went right through his ears.
Yes, David. Yes, I did. Yes, I've called and I'm waiting for a call back from
Something less,
one of
maybe
the,
put like a paragraph.
one of the marshals,
So, I
so.
mean, it's just an official term
Yeah.
for saying
Sure.
what you know, say they got the thing from their grandfather, right?
Mhm.
What do they plan to do with it? Are they gonna give it to the kid the way it is? You know what I mean, like,
Okay.
because the town would like to see these.
Thank you, Dave.
Consolidated.
Yeah. The first thing that came to my mind when you say that, are you gonna give, maybe you wanna give this to your kids? Kids today don't want anything
Well,
from,
sometimes they inherit, they don't want it. then
Yeah,
they
I
sell
mean,
it, you have
you
to
know,
sell this thing.
you know, they don't necessarily want anything, and we might have a little, but the rewording of it, I don't have a problem with that.
Then it's a graveyard.
Then it's a graveyard.
Well, those are not permitted in any of the districts.
I thought there was,
We already have automobile graveyard in the zoning ordinance.
Thank you.
It's not permitted in
Thank
any.
you, Dan.
But these things are pretty much graveyard, some of them.
What would happen?
Right, well, that's what we're just trying to address them and put something in there that would ask the applicant to give us a plan for this thing.
How many gallons?
What are they gonna do?
How many, is a septic system?
depends on the bedroom size, starts at 750 and you can go up to 3,000, but that's just the tank capacity.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Interesting, okay.
I have the contractor, yeah, one coming out in a minute.
Okay. I don't see any problem with a written record of waste disposal.
Yeah, I see you're coming. My first thought, to answer your question, Joyce, on this, and some of this I agree with, you know, like the record of wastewater disposal, I agree with that.
Right.
But we also, you know, I alluded to earlier, we come into the line in this, of property owner rights, and so again, you know, where is that line that, you know, they bought this property, they paid for the, you know, they paid for it, they paid taxes, and
Nope, trying to.
where is the line of their rights and the town regulations?
So currently, it's not a permitted use, so this is something we're trying to open the door because it's something we're ignoring, and we want to make it a permitted use because we need it, the town needs it, whether it's the person that owns it or the people that need the services from the contractor, and it's just, we want to make it clearer so when we have complaints that we can show it's a permitted use and it's something that meets the standards.
And this came from Wakefield?
Yeah, that's where I stole this one from.
Laura,
Yeah, plagiarized.
plagiarized, something like that.
And they had the same thing, they had a bunch of existing ones and they had to transition into permit, you know, uses that was permitted.
So what you were saying, like if you guys saying over there, Ken, is it'd be from the adoption date moving forward. And the other ones would be grandfathered in prior to, say, June 30th, 2020, say if this was done in June. So anything prior to June 30th, 2020 would be allowed to continue, and anything moving forward has to meet these stipulations.
It seems a lot like the mineral extraction, so they'd still want to come forward and get a permit, just like the mineral extraction by the fairgrounds. Think about it, right? They were operating.
Yeah, but they want to,
They were operating before we put in the regulations.
No, we had to gravel that thing for years.
No, when we changed the regulations most recently from 10,000 down to 1,000, just a couple of years ago, not even.
right,
Some of these places then were not conforming, so we did ask them to come forward and get a permit if they're removing that much material. And it's similar to that. It's like there'll be a slow turnover of people, we hope.
Yeah, they might come forward.
I'm sorry, because when you said,
I was just trying to draw a comparison with
yeah,
something
no,
else.
I thought they're changing use from a gravel pit to a,
No, just from the
but back,
10,000.
what was it,
10,000.
a year and a half, or 2 years ago, we went from 10,000.
That was just kind of my.
Yeah, got it, I'm with you on that, yeah.
And I didn't pick up something right away, we might want to put something in about fences or something to block it from public view. One of the things I picked up. Number 3.
It says, yeah, it says whenever possible shall be screened from view, so that's already in there.
Mhm.
Right, yeah, if you want to just take that verbatim. Good.
Couple things there would work well. Anybody got a cough drop?
Yes, I do.
Do you mind?
Well, this is interesting, it says all shall comply with the building setbacks, so we want to just think about setbacks for these things from sidelines, streets, things like that, how far back. You know, I have the one for the wetlands, but maybe all the other setbacks that, yeah.
So number 1, instead of a 3 acre, you need to, it has to be on a conforming lot. And we'll have to have the land use table. As far as which zones are permitted and which zones it's not allowed in.
Yeah, yeah,
I would say shoreland RP, little philosophy is a no.
correct.
Shoreland, philosophy, RP would be not permitted and everything else permitted.
Aquifer Protection District is something we should discuss.
Aquifer
Yeah.
protection
Yeah, I'd like to look at those maps
would be plan board review.
to,
Like a conditional use permit, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Additional use.
Something, because we don't allow like an automobile facility or in the
In that
Aquifer
area.
Protection District, so
Right.
some of these things would be comparable to that.
right.
Number 2, not more than 6 non-resident persons. I don't like that terminology. Cap it at a maximum amount of employees you want to see.
Just no more than,
Because once you go over this threshold, then you just conditional use.
yeah,
More likely, you know, so we just want a simple, easy, it's permitted use, yeah, go ahead and do it. No permit or anything like that, I would think. And I think home occupation's 3 employees that are not family members.
So you could have 6, 7, or 8, depending on how many family members you have working for you.
Yeah.
So you would say,
I mean, if you had 6 people just working there, I mean, a lot of these places, they grab their equipment, they go to the site to work.
right.
Yeah.
So if they were just working there, we'd be talking site plan review potentially. If you had 6 people on site all the time working in that.
Well, they're gonna drive in, leave
They-
their
they-
car.
yeah, leave their vehicles.
Is that what you- yeah, so,
I would leave 6 in and just cross out the non-residence persons shall be no more than 6 employed in the activity area. of the site.
Right,
And
right.
We can change that verbiage up at the end. It's all right.
I mean, it looks good.
That last sentence on 4
Yeah, get rid of that.
Yeah.
doesn't apply to it.
No. Five seems okay.
Yeah.
That's bringing in basically the buffers.
Mhm.
Now, what is the definition of a home-based construction yard that does, that has, that builds things on property, has a workshop on property and leaves and go installs this stuff?
Do I drive by this place and can't tell that it's actually anything except for a little sign out front? It's a home occupation, which is a permitted use. And that's the problem we have, is that home occupations are all set, but once you have storage outside, that's beyond home
Well,
occupation.
the place that I'm thinking of has barns out back that they physically do construction of products, and then they put them in their trucks and leave and go and install them.
But all
You
the
know,
work
where
is
does
done in
that
the
fit
barn.
in?
All the work is done in the barn and all the equipment's in the barn?
I mean,
Is all of the work done in the barn and all the equipment in the barn?
No, I think you mean little barns, like sheds and things?
no, actual building, actual construction buildings that they work in.
That would probably be conditional use. I think we're up into
I
that.
mean, I don't want to say any name.
Hypothetical.
No, hypothetically.
No,
But I mean, is that part of this also considered a construction yard?
Well, we're talking about contractor yards,
Well, they're a
Correct.
contractor.
right, but,
so if, what I've seen a lot of towns have are these tiny house factories being put up all over the place, that would be a conditional use,
Okay.
because you're running the business. I just looking to see about the definition of this. Let's see, the contract. And then maybe see if the DEP is a best management practice, or,
yeah.
that's a definite.
DEP cover all properties.
air, water, land,
They do all properties,
3 different.
regardless of where the property
It
is.
just depends on what your issue is. You know, you've got an oil leak from your basement, your furnace, or your crematory, or you're burning your trash, or something like that.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter what it is. State's got their own stuff here.
And then C, where they did kind of a transition for it.
I think that's a good idea.
Then it might cover a lot of the things you were talking about, Gavin. If it's, you know, the yard remains in the same family and all that.
In the no cost.
Mhm.
I was thinking in general, it's similar to a home occupation, that if you're, you know, knitting at your house or something and selling it online, we don't care. No permit required, it's a permitted use. You know, at the end of the day, we're all set.
I think that's a good start.
Yes, we do have a definition for it. The GB1.
What do you think? Oh,
I don't mind. It's great. I wasn't contrary to yours.
you know, I think, you know, getting into the shoreline, RP, all of that,
Yeah, the land use chart will help us out.
Land
there.
use.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
that will clear things a lot.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I got right there for that.
Yeah, I just made
Right
it
at
up
the
right
end.
here.
Stick it right in the end.
That would be the place to put it.
Last one, Z.
Oh,
X, Y, Z.
son of a gun, how about that?
Yeah.
What does, Gavin, the numbers mean in the land use chart when it's next to a letter?
Oh, well, it depends on, most of them are, it's like a footnote
Footnote.
to a reference, and then you go just past the footnotes, we have 1 through 9 on page 19.
Okay, I see, okay.
And it kind of explains
I
each
didn't
one.
look, I didn't look past, I looked before. But
Yeah,
normally
no,
that's
it's
the
the-
references before,
Oh, you just looked at the before, yeah,
the
gotcha,
references, I didn't
yeah.
look after it.
All right, so we'll, they're gonna find that definition, print it out, we'll put it in on that, and
Okay,
we'll try to clean this one up too.
yeah. And on the land use chart, as Gavin just pointed out, it can be Z. We have used the whole alphabet.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, page 18, I was gonna plug it in. Right after parking facilities, page 18.
For the home,
Under the home use,
Or we could just, you know, that's under other uses, is where I plugged it in, but.
the home occupation on G.
Okay, so we mean, well,
That means you'd be changing every other letter underneath it too.
right?
G-1. We can find it at home, it won't be that bad. Thank you.
Do you have the minutes that we're working on? I don't know if we're working on them, was it united
From last week.
from last week? Just to make sure, because everybody's still here, since we don't have a recorded copy of it.
So there's a definition, we take a look at it and get back at the next
Yeah.
go around and see how that seems to transition through. And again, I think when people hear about it, they're gonna be defensive and against it, but once you realize we're trying to make it a permitted use and allow it in all zones as an allowed use without permitting, I think most people will be fine with it.
Yeah,
Unless you have one as you're a butter and you don't like the operation next door, so.
depending, yeah. Depending on what it's happening.
That's all I got.
Right, we,
So, just so I'm clear, do we have anything to vote on at our planning board meeting? Are we at that point yet or anything?
No, I think we'll clean up the drafts a little bit better and then it may be.
we should be able to
But if
make,
there's input for at the next meeting, we'll probably end up making some changes and connect the following one.
So we have nothing ready yet to vote on?
Correct.
Well, you might be able to vote on the subdivision regulations.
yeah, at this meeting coming up. What do you think?
Potentially, we would just have to,
We
you
can
know, a
vote
lot
on
of
it?
simple changes,
Oh,
but
the applications, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
accept or approve
that,
And the other-
just all the changes
the
in the
changes in the
subdivision book.
subdivision book.
Maybe we're not ready
We might
because
be
we
able
want
to
to
do that.
discuss it more, but
Yeah.
I think, I'm pretty ready to vote on it.
I mean, I am too. but I
Yeah.
don't
With
know.
everyone here, we're gonna go over the minutes because nothing was recorded. So,
I would just leave them for your regular meeting. I don't think, I wouldn't get into much substantive stuff.
well, there really wasn't, that was the whole
Yeah.
point, there really
I
wasn't.
think we know the meeting is who was there, who made the motions, and what time you adjourned. Is by law, all we're supposed to have on them, so.
Right, we didn't have any motion,
We didn't have
Yeah,
any
there
motions.
wasn't any, so we showed up,
no action
we were
statement.
here for a couple hours, and
Mhm,
you got out of here.
Yeah, no action statement.
right. Sounds good
Workshop
to
you're
me.
talking about. I'm good.
That's what it was, so we can wait. This is- came up with, I think it was, yeah.
Well, we get the copies now, and we get the meeting. We do have a meeting on the 30th,
We
right?
have a meeting on the 30th.
So that's next week, yeah.
Yep.
Well, we don't have a Wednesday meeting.
Say what?
No Wednesday next week, just Thursday.
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
Thank you, sir.
I'm happy.
Good. Good.
I appreciate you giving me that face with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's from one of your deputies. Big
They're
trucks,
not hauling out though, right?
nothing's
They're
else
just
but
prepping.
big, 6-foot piles here, there, and the other where, and all that. And I kind of leave it too, if I get a phone call, you get a phone call.
Yeah. Yeah, most people just don't even take the information, just tell them to call the town, call us,
You know,
email us.
and your neighbor's walking by your front yard.
Yeah.
It's a different story. Okay, don't worry. Take
Thank you
care of
guys for your
time.
time.
Yeah. Thank you, I think we've covered everything and we are all set. So Virginia, thanks, workshop is ended.